Morning, Mike. Just meeting you so far. All right. Can you hear me? Hello, 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 hello. Happy New Year to those tuning in. I want to welcome you guys to Dispatcher 101 Training for Beginners. Welcome you to a new year, January, 5th, 2020. Hoping everybody had a prosperous and good 2019 and looking to grow and learn and transcend what was learned in 2019. Good morning, Mike. Can you unmute yourself or no? Let me type something in here. See if you unmute your mic and be able to speak. Give a brief update as to what's going on. Hey, Mike, what's going on?
How you doing? How's the New Year going?
Happy New Year 2020.
Same to you.
What are your plans?
I'm trying to get this dispatcher thing rolling.
And how are you working on that right now?
Truthfully, yo, no ad-libbing in the back, yo. Shut up back there. Well, you know, like I said, you know, it's time to get it going. Yesterday I was in Chantilly, Virginia. I went to a truck stop over there.
You were where?
What is it? Chantilly, Virginia?
Okay, that's north. That's north of me.
Yeah, it's like the top of Virginia. Yeah, I was over there yesterday. I ran up at a truck stop, but it was kind of deserted. No, it wasn't like an official truck stop, I guess. It wasn't like no pilot or no flying J's or nothing like that. I didn't know that till I got there though. But you know, like I said, you know, I'm about to put this in motion. That's all.
Okay. What were you? You were under a load or something, or?
Nah, I went over there, you know, trying to meet some owner operators. See if I can get them to sign up.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm following them up. That I went over there to see if I could buy a few of them lunch or something. You know how I go.
Okay. Did you any luck?
No luck. It was raining. It was deserted. It was some bootleg truck stop.
Well, then you probably have to go to the next method. You know, there's more than one way, I guess. Skinny cat, cold calling, the search on the DAT directory. Did I show you the DAT directory?
You don't show the whole blueprint. Yeah, I've done that too. I've done that too.
Yeah. So once, what I'm going to do is some of the carriers who I still have their dispatch agreement, but I haven't been really dispatching for, I'm going to reach out to them, see how they are, how their new year is, and what do they plan on doing as far as looking to run. And then I'm probably going to sub-dispatch some of those carriers to members who are enrolled in this platform to kind of give you, especially those who are having difficulty finding carriers already now, because that's the first hurdle in this process, in the evolution. That's the first hurdle, is getting the carrier to agree to say, yeah, okay, I'll let you dispatch for me. let's do an agreement and we go from there. So, but some people are not inclined to get carriers to sign a dispatch agreement more so than others. Some people are not a people person. So some people are just behind the scenes, and they can do their work behind the scenes and not have to talk to someone. And fine. You have other people who's like introverted, and then you have extroverted people who are out in the open, rah-rah, a lot of raucous and all this other stuff. So it's being able to identify the different dispositions or different personalities of people, and then trying to place them according to their skill set and their disposition. So if I got an introverted person but who's real good at finding loads, then I got to see if I can help them get a carrier another way besides them trying to do it themselves. Or if I got someone who's not good at booking loads but can get carrier all day, you got to try to work that angle too. So you got to be able to have the ability to identify a person's strengths and weaknesses and then move accordingly. So,
yeah, I feel you on that. But like, I have no problem with basically reaching out, holding conversations. But like I told you before, I wasn't doing it because I didn't have the time to sit around, be looking for loans, and, doing the paperwork or whatever. So I was like, when I got the time, to be correct, to sit down and do it all, that's when I'm going to jump into it. Like last week I talked to a few of them, but then everyone I talked to last week already got the dispatches.
Right. So even with that, if a carrier tells you, well, I got a dispatcher already, then you if you feel that this is a good carrier based off of the conversation, because if a carrier tells me they have a dispatcher, then I'm basing whether I'm going to continue the conversation off of how the conversation is going. If they seem to be a good carrier and they move loads pretty good, they pick up, and then I'll say, okay, well, is your dispatcher, is he finding you loads? Is he maintaining loads for you? What's your average cents per mile? Stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, I went that route too. Basically they kind of happy with their dispatcher, so I feel you on that one too.
Yes, so basically you allow them to give you as much information as possible, and then you just take that stuff in and then just formulate a conclusion based off of what they tell you. Because people are gonna tell you about themselves if you just listen. I learned that last year. If you just listen to people, they'll tell you about themselves.
Right.
You don't have to wonder at all. So the other big thing that's happening or that has happened was this big. There's a large trucking company. There are several other trucking companies too that are going through this, but the largest one that's going through it is a company called Celadon, Celadon. Celadon. They had about 4,000 employees. About 2/3 of that were company drivers and lease on owner operators. They were pretty much fired or laid off because Celadon was slapped with they filed for bankruptcy because they were doing a lot of fraudulent activity on the books. So the IRS, the SEC, FBI, and IRS kind of came down on them for like millions of dollars. So they had to file for bankruptcy protection. I forget which chapter. You got chapter 7, 11, and 13. I forget which one they filed for bankruptcy protection. But in essence, they pretty much sent out a company-wide memo to all the company drivers and owner-operators saying, wherever the nearest truck stop is, park the truck there, take all your belongings out, lock the truck up. We're pretty much shut down. And this happened before Christmas, like a week or so before Christmas. So you can imagine.
Charles, that's been happening all year, 2019.
Yeah.
Few companies were shutting down.
Yeah.
Celadon was like one of the last biggest ones.
Yeah. And so if you had like any stocks in the company, any 401k, you pretty much, that stuff is gone. You lost it because they have to use that money to pay off those creditors that they owe. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it has been happening with smaller companies. It just came into the like the major forefront with Celadon because they were such a large company that affected a large number of people that you even see them posting on social media. I'm trying to use that as a as a dispatcher, how could we take advantage of something like that? I think one of the ways could be if we see that the owner operators or the company drivers, if they decide to get own authority, because those company drivers were driving under the authority of Celadon. Those owner operators who were leased on the side, they did not have an authority either. So if owner operators who were leased on, they say, hey, I'm going to do it myself and just get my own authority and try to find my own loads. If they do that and we reach out to those people, then there'd be an opportunity to book loads for them. So, but there you go.
I heard a few other platforms talking about it, yeah, now's the time, to basically try to get in contact with the Celadon drivers. I heard all of them, but like I told you, I wasn't ready then. So I didn't have the time to do it.
Right. Let me speak to Alicia. Can you hear me, Alicia? Good morning. Hey, how are you, Darius? Trying to see if Alicia can. Your mic is open, Alicia. Can you speak? Alicia? I'm trying to see if her mic can open. Let me see. I'll type something in here for her so she can. Cause I want to hear her voice. Good morning. Good morning. I'm trying to speak to Alicia. I just saw her tuned in. Now that may be area code 346-754, but Alicia just joined Dispatcher 101 training platform. I think it was yesterday, enrolled, so she's trying to get set up and get started with the preliminary logging into the back office, going through some of the videos, looking at attending live training, getting questions answered, and understanding what the basic process is for a Dispatcher 101 training for beginner enrollee. So, she just said she can't. Let me see if I can get your audio together. It could be your all right, let me see. Unmute yourself. Because she can't hear, so this is recorded, but she can't hear, so I just want to make sure that I get her acclimated. Good morning to you, Darius. Happy New Year. While we wait on Alicia to provide some feedback. Let's see, Mr. Darius, can you unmute yourself? Well, let me unmute you.
Good morning, Mr. Charles. How are you, sir?
Hey, who's area code 346? They are unmuted as well. How is Happy New Year to you, Darius? What do you have planned this year that's different from last as it relates to the transportation industry?
Well, this year we're gonna do more research, and we're gonna get in there and try to make some things happen. Despite all the crazy things that's happening, we're not gonna tap out.
Okay. Now is your focus going to be on the the dispatching side, the broker side?
I'm still looking at both. It's funny you speak of that. I remember you were talking on one of the previous recordings about you starting a brokerage up. Are you still planning to do that?
I'm doing basic broker training. I have a broker friend who wants to do broker training and then allow those trainees to come in under her brokerage as agents, and then she will train her. You'll get the basic understanding of what it is to be a broker agent, and then you'll go in under her brokerage, and then she'll train you in her ways and process of what she does, because each brokerage have different types of software, TMS software that they use. So down the line, I may consider a brokerage. I'm trying to align a lot of shippers up to the point where it will leave me no choice but to open a brokerage, because I have enough shippers I send my dispatch carriers to that I say, well, hey, I don't need a broker. I can be my own broker. I don't need to keep going to brokers for loads. I go directly to the shippers. Well, then if the case, then I can just own brokerage and use those shippers as my customers. So I haven't gotten to that point yet, but it's coming. But Darius, so
I'll stay
tuned.
tuned.
In the meantime, you still have access to the content on the broker side, Freight Broker 101 anyway. So
yes, sir.
It's there. And of course, you have my cell number, so any questions, you just call me, and then we go from there.
Hey, greatly appreciate it, sir.
Yes, sir. Alicia.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
So who is, are you area code 346?
No, I'm 562.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to. And Robert just tuned in. What's up, Robert? How you doing? So everyone, welcome Alicia. She just joined. What was it? Yesterday, enrolled.
Yeah.
Did you? I think I sent the email off and trying to get you set up with a back office approval. I think you got back office approval. So what?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Dispatcher 101 training for beginners. So what, in your estimation, what are you looking to gain from this platform as far as Dispatcher 101 training for beginners? What foundational information do you feel that you want to gain?
Pretty much everything. Like I said, I've been a guest on a couple of your lives before. Just really organization and all the proper steps that need to be taken. I just want to be able to be successful in what I'm doing. As long as I know the product and what to do, what to say, I feel like I'm going to be successful. So I just want to be able to know the whole setup, everything, the business, the back office part, just everything that I need to do so that I can flow right.
Okay. Well, the first thing you did was enroll. The next thing, of course, eventually you'll, because some people enroll with or without having their, their business license and their ID number ahead of time, which is fine. You can still do that and then do that at the same time while you're working towards it. That's not going to affect anything. But enrolling, getting back office tools and resources, getting your back office login so you can access everything that's back here. If you can see my, I don't know if you're on the computer or on your phone.
Well, are you
on your computer?
So I can get you to hear.
Okay.
But I can see.
Okay, so, and then orientation, business setup, I'm going to do a video about that. That's basically just saying, what legal structure you feel as your dispatching company you need to set up. Is it an LLC? What's the advantages and disadvantages of that? Is it a sole proprietorship? Is it a partnership? Is it a corporation? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of each one? knowing that if you go in having that information, you can make a better informed decision because only you know the way and the direction of your dispatching company where that's heading. So based off of you knowing the direction of your dispatching company, you can decide which legal structure you want to set it up under. You follow?
Right. Right.
And then so before you do that,
what I've been doing a little bit, I think I've finally come to a decision because I did talk to my tax lady, and I've made a decision on which way I want to go, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm building all of that on the back end as I'm learning the dispatching part.
Right. So you're multitasking. That's a good thing. Right. So most people, I'll give you, I don't want to say a hint, but I'll give you, most people choose LLC, limited liability, because one of the main reasons is because, God forbid that something happens and a claim or a suit is filed against you, then and you lose that case, then they can only go after the business. They can't go after the person.
Right.
So that's one of there's several others, but that's one main reason why people choose LLC. So, and then also too, you want to get the tax ID number. You want to get a tax ID number, which is also 9 digits, like the social. Most, I've known cases where people have associated their social security number with their business, as opposed to putting the tax ID number, the federal EIN number, employee ID number, with the business, which makes a little bit more sense to me.
Right.
So get those two so while you're learning, and then on here we have the progression of dispatching, or the workflow. I like to use that term sometimes. Is you can't dispatch for anyone if you don't have anyone to dispatch for. So you have to get get a carrier under an agreement. So that's step 1 or module 1. And then module 2 is load boards. You have to familiarize yourself with navigating the load boards, I'll say starting out, because the load board is going to be your friend. Now you may, over time, you may get customers for your carriers, and you have a need to use the load boards time, but at some point you're going to need the load board because you may need what's called a backhaul. You may have a customer that sends your carrier out, but doesn't necessarily bring them back on a load. So therein lies the issue. You may need a load board because you may have to find them a load back, or it's called a backhaul. So, but learning the load board, learning the load board, how to navigate that. That's module 2. And then once you find a load, you have to book that load. Well, how is that done? Do you book it through a broker? Do you book it through the shipper? What's the dialogue? What's the conversation that's had between you as a dispatcher and whoever you're booking that load with, whether it's the broker or the shipper? And then, of course, the last part is invoicing your carrier. So after your carrier delivers to the receiver, and see, these 4 modules, these are just high-level outline headings of what you do. Now, in each case, I go into more detail, of course, but it's just high level. So module 4, invoicing the carrier. So after he delivers, they're going to get what's called a delivery receipt, or what's called a BOL, a bill of lading, which is their invoice, so they can get paid by either the broker, or they may have what's called a factoring company that pays them ahead of time quicker, but they charge a percentage for that. And then once you come to the understanding that your carrier has been paid or has delivered or is at the receiver or being offloaded, I usually invoice my carriers. Once they say, hey, I'm here at the receiver, I'll go ahead and produce an invoice. And I use PayPal or Square to send. Okay. I use mainly PayPal. Some people have a problem with PayPal, others do not. But PayPal is cool. Square. Some people, I think, they're starting to use this Cash App thing now too. But those are the 4 main modules. Now, within each one, there are some specific techniques and criteria. So the first one, you can't dispatch unless you have a carrier, right? So how is that done? What's all involved in carrier acquisition? That should be the question of someone who's coming into a new platform and want to learn it. If this is the first module, then what's involved in this module, and what do I need to understand and know and learn before I can consider myself eligible to move on to the next step, right? If that's how I would look at it, if I was coming in new, I'll say, okay, well, let me master this and then move on to the next one. So carrier acquisition, all that is, and of course in this module there's a YouTube video, I think it's like 30-something minutes or an hour or whatever, explaining the actual module. And then I have content. Okay. I have content and PDFs, a quiz, so you can learn the basic terminology, because there's gonna be a need to have an understanding of some of the jargon. So when you talk to a carrier and you're asking them certain questions, or he's asking you questions, say you already have a dispatcher agreement, and you're trying to understand what's his equipment type, what type of truck does he drive. So in carrier acquisition, getting the carrier, we focus on the 3 main equipment types out here that move the most freight on these roads today. The reason why there's 3, these 3 are the ones that I target because of that reason. Because you see them all the time out here on the roads. You can go out on the interstate now, you cannot not see any of these 3. So, and I give you a screenshot here. 53-foot drive-in. Well, first of all, let me give you the definition of what an equipment type is. An equipment type, so if I say a drive-in trailer or reefer trailer or flatbed, that's the equipment type. It includes tractor and the trailer that the tractor is connected to that's hauling the freight. So that defines, those 2 together defines the equipment type. Okay? Okay. So the tractor by itself is just considered a tractor, a power only, just a truck. But whatever trailer is connected, whatever type of trailer that's connected to that tractor determines the equipment type of that unit. So if you have a dry-van trailer connected to a tractor, it is a dry-van equipment type. If you have a reefer trailer connected to the tractor, it is a reefer or refrigerated trailer equipment type. If you have a flatbed trailer, according to this picture, connected to the tractor, then this is a flatbed equipment type. Okay? Okay. All right. And the standard lengths. Huh?
No, I said all looks familiar.
Oh, okay. So you've been down this road.
Well, I'm just saying, like you said, this is what we see every day. So, yeah,
right.
It makes sense now.
Right. So you have 53-foot dry-van trailers, 53-foot reefers or refrigerated trailers. Now, the only difference between these 2, the dry-van and the reefer, because the reefer looks like a dry-van trailer, but this little unit right here is called a TCU, it's a temperature control unit. And what that does, it keeps whatever is being hauled inside of here, which is called the freight, the goods, the commodity, whatever term you use. So when you're talking to a broker and you ask them, because you're going to be asking the broker, well, what's the commodity that my carrier is going to be hauling? The broker automatically tell you, well, we're hauling onions or we're hauling produce. Well, then, based off of the type of commodity, you can tell, well, produce needs to stay cool, so it's going to definitely go into a reefer. You can't put produce in a dry-in trailer. That stuff will bad, right? So these are some of the things that you'll pick up on too as you go and progress in this journey as a dispatcher. You'll pick up on some of these things too. So that is the reefer trailer because it has a temperature control unit, a TCU, and it keeps the freight or the commodity cool to a certain temperature while it's being hauled from A to B or from shipper to receiver. Okay? And then you have flatbed trailers. There's different styles of flatbed trailers, step decks, the standard flatbeds, low boards. There's different types, but just know that flatbed, it looks like a skateboard. And that's one of the nicknames that they call it. So But these are the ones that we target. These are the equipment types that we train and target on in this Dispatcher 101 Training for Beginners platform. Now, mind you, there are other equipment types that dispatchers go after. There are some Sprinter vans, what's called hot shots. A hot shot is similar to a flatbed, but the trailer is about up to 40 feet long, and it's attached to a pickup truck with dual axle wheels in the back called a dually. Have you ever heard of a dually pickup truck?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So the hot shots are attached to those. They are up to 40 feet. And some of them may even have ramps. And they can haul up to about 30,000 pounds. Flatbed trailers can haul up to about 48,000 pounds. And they're between 48 and 53 feet. So you can put more weight on it and you have more feet to deal with, so you can potentially make more money because you got more loads to push. The trailers, the drive-in and reefer trailers, they're 53 feet, so they can hold about 45,000 pounds. So, you with me so far?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So those are the equipment types that we've decided to target. And the reason, another reason is because they're easier to find loads for on the load boards. In other words, brokers and shippers post for loads under these equipment type categories than they do under the other ones, under straight trucks, box trucks, hot shots, Sprinter vans, stuff like that. If you go to a load board, you're going to see more loads for these equipment types. So it just made sense to me, well, why don't we just target the ones that are being posted on the load boards by the brokers and the shippers more prevalently. It just increases our chances of getting loads, especially as beginners. So, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, also, too, now we got methods used to acquire carriers under a dispatcher agreement and profile. But before I go to that, let's explain what is the dispatcher agreement and what is the profile? Let's go to forms and
what
documents.
Was your question?
What is the dispatcher agreement and what is the carrier profile? I'm going to explain that because that's what. So before you even decide which equipment type that you're going to go after, you want to have an understanding of the dispatch agreement and the profile. So on the website, in the back office, under the forms and documents area, we have dispatch agreement and we have profile. And I'm going to probably be editing this, adding to, taking away, kind of tweaking it for 2020. You know, because as we come across different trends in this new year, then we try to keep the website dynamic in that sense. So,
right.
So the dispatch agreement is essentially the agreement or the contract, if you will, between you and the owner, operator, the truck driver, the carrier, saying, okay, I'm the dispatcher. I provide the service of finding you loads, processing the paperwork, all the administrative tasks involved in that. You as the driver, you focus on driving, making sure that that freight gets picked up from the shipper correctly and gets delivered to the receiver correctly. And we have a mutual relationship that we understand each other. These are our duties. I find the loads, you run the loads, and for doing that, I charge a percentage for that gross amount of the rate of that load that was posted on the load board. That could be anywhere between 5 to 10% per load. Okay, so this is just the verbiage in the dispatcher agreement, giving you a contract and making it binding. So, have you ever seen the dispatch agreement? Have you had a chance to look it over? Okay. So basically your name, and this is on the website, and this is the template for you. You can obviously change it up, put your information in instead of mine. I just put it up here so you guys can use it as a template. So if you have a logo for your business, you can put that in, put your name, put your phone number, your company email, and your website if you have one, right? And you try to make it as plain as possible. There's nothing really too complicated about it as long as the carrier, because you're dealing with truck drivers, right? You're not dealing with corporate people. So you got to make it as plain as possible. I'm not saying that they're dumb. I'm just saying that you just want to make it as plain as possible so both parties have a clear understanding of what it is that each of those parties are doing. You know, what is their responsibility as a dispatcher, and then what is the carrier's responsibility as a carrier in this agreement. So, any questions so far?
And of course, I know that I would be the one to make the decision, but how do you come to the decision of what percent you want to charge as a new dispatcher?
Well, as a new dispatcher, matter of fact, I think it's moving up to 12%, to be honest with you. But between 5 and 10%, as a new dispatcher, I would say between that 5 and 10%. If you want to be fair, I would say meet them halfway, like 7, 8% maybe. And then as you get more experience and you start to find steady loads for this one carrier, do the 7 to 8% for the first few carriers that you're dispatching for. And as you grow and get more experience and more seasoned in your dispatching duties, when you acquire other carriers, you can up your percentage to those carriers because you've learned over time how to do it now. You've gotten seasoned, you've gotten the experience, so you've been calling brokers, booking loads, and then learning these techniques and strategies, you know, let's say 6 months to a year out. And if you've been in it 6 months to a year out, you're going to start to see patterns and see things. You're going to say, okay, I'm dealing with the same brokers all the time. They got the same loads going in the same area. So as a dispatcher, it will make sense for me to find carriers in those areas of those loads that those brokers have where they're going out. So I get those carriers under a dispatch agreement. Yeah, so I get those carriers under a dispatch agreement knowing that I got loads already because I got a broker who have loads in the areas that I'm sending my previous carriers out. I'm just pushing these new carriers into those same lanes. So, and then now you can negotiate your rate a little bit up, maybe 9, maybe 10%. So.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. Let's see. Hey, Victor. Okay, Victor is the 346 number. How you doing, Victor? Welcome. Happy New Year. So this is the verbiage. If you want, we can go through this line by line, and if you have any questions, we can break it down because it's good to understand the agreement. Basically, this is what the carrier is going to fill out and return to you along with the profile. This is the profile. And this is just what the profile looks like. So they're going to fill it out. So you're going to send it to them either email or electronically through like a DocuSign or however. Starting out, if you're just starting out as a beginner, you may not have all the technological software to get started. So attaching a PDF dispatch agreement to an email and sending it to the carrier, if that's how you got to do it starting out, that's fine, as long as you get that information back, you know. So, so right here, and let's use me as an example. So let's say you, Alicia, are the dispatcher and I'm the carrier. So I'll call myself Exodus Logistics. Exodus Logistics, which is the carrier, in parentheses, the owner-operator of truck number 1, trailer number 2, MC number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, DOC 6, 7, 8, 9. You know, I'm just throwing numbers in there, right? So do you know what an MC number is and the DOT number? So I'm going through this line by line so we can get a clear understanding and a thorough breakdown of the dispatch agreement, right? So
right.
So the owner-operator
to be able to be owner-operator or truck driver.
Okay.
And as far as the DOT, that's something, from the Department of Transportation, another number that you have to have?
Correct. So the DOT number is a unique number that's given to the owner operators by the Department of Transportation, and also the MC number is a unique number that's given to the owner operators, the truck drivers, the carriers by the FMCSA, the Federal Motor Carriers Safety Administration. The MC number, there are different MC authorities. The MC authority number is a representation, and this number says that this number is attached to, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is attached to Exodus Logistics as an example. So my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is associated with my company, saying that I have the authority to run loads, whether it's interstate or intrastate, because there's different types. You can run interstate, which is all the states in the country, or intrastate, which is just within your state of residence. So there's different MC authority types. There are 4 that I know of. The common carrier, which is the most common one that's out here that every carrier that you're going to run into has, which is the common carrier authority. So keep that in mind. Then you have the contracted carrier, passenger carrier, and HHG. The other 3 you don't have to worry about as much. It's the common carrier authority that most of these carriers that you're going to be dealing with as an independent freight dispatcher have. They have a common carrier authority, MC authority, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the contracted carrier means that they're assigned to a specific company. The passenger carrier means they have they can haul passengers. Like an example of that, like you ever notice those Chinese buses, charter bus companies that be taking old folks to New York and back and all that sort of stuff. So
right.
That's what that is. And then the HHG stands for household goods. Those are like the large moving companies like Covans and Atlas. Those moving companies, sometimes those military families, they move across the country and they have these big 18-wheelers down this little street, packing up their whole house and shipping it across the country. Those trucking companies have an MC authority, but it's an HHG type of MC authority. In other words, they only handle household goods. That's what that means.
Okay.
All right? So MC authority trucking credit number hereby grants authorization or permission to you, Alicia, and your name will go here, that's highlighted there, to act as my agent for the sole purpose of searching for and booking loads. So what does that mean? Searching for and booking loads, processing all brokerage paperwork, and obtaining all necessary documents required in order to expedite loads and dispatch, whether it's the phone, fax, email, for my truck, license plate number, ABC123 in the state of, I'm currently in Virginia. So let's go back. Searching for and booking loads, processing all brokerage paperwork. What does that mean? When you search for and book loads, you're either searching for and booking loads on a load board and processing all the brokerage. What is brokerage paperwork? When you call a broker and load board, let's call up a load board, right? And let me know if I'm moving too fast.
Oh no, I'm keeping up.
So I'm logging into one of the load boards. I think I sent you an email with three load board logins, 3 of the main ones. Did you get that email?
Yeah, I was up early this morning. I got it all.
Okay. Let's see. I got a lot of students in here looking for loads. These are none of my loads. I'm just going ahead and taking out the ones that say 0 and the smaller ones so I can create more bandwidth. But these are all students that are in the back office on the load board looking for loads for their carriers. So I'm just logging in and looking at it, kind of filter out some stuff and get out of here. There we go. So this is a board. This one's called Internet Truck Stop. The 3 that I deal with mainly is 123 load board, Internet Truck Stop, and DAT, which is dial a truck. They call it DAT, Trucker's Edge. So the purpose of the load board,
I meant to be on mute. I was talking to my daughter.
Okay, I'm sorry. So this is a load board. So let's use one of their loads as an example. Let's just say a dry van. I'm just going to open up one of theirs because the point I was making about the brokerage paperwork, right? So you go to a load board and let's put it in order of, let's say, the first 100. All these loads, and I'm going to hit rate, put in an order of highest to lowest. So I got a load that's paying $4,100 at 40,000 pounds for a dry van trailer that's going 2,494 miles. So that's less than $2 a mile. Just looking at that, because 2 times 24 is 48, but it's only paying 41. But anyway, the point I'm making is let's say you like that load. That's not a good load personally, but let's say you like it. I'm opening it up now and getting the load details of the load, that specific load. Load details meaning the name of the broker, the pickup dates and times, the delivery dates and times, the weight, any special instructions, the special information. This is the load number, I'm assuming. Over here in this column here in the decision tools column, the posting company, which is the brokerage, they're offline right now because it's Sunday. They're probably closed. This is the contact information. So if you like a load, you would call this person and say, hey, I'm looking at this load going from Atlanta, Georgia for a dry van to Grandview, Washington. It picks up on Monday at 11 a.m. and it delivers Thursday at 4 a.m. Is that load still available? This is the dialogue that I would usually ask them in that particular way. I'm looking at this dry van load going from Atlanta, picking up on Monday at 11 and delivering to Grandview, Washington at 4 a.m. on Thursday. Is that load still? What they'll do, they'll ask you, well, what's your MC number? Because they want to, the reason why they're asking you before they check and see if the load is available, because they want to check your MC number to see if you are already set up in their system as an approved carrier for them. That's the reason that they ask you for the MC number. So you'll give them the MC number. They'll look it up and say, okay, they'll say one of two things, whether you're set up with them or not set up with them. If you are set up with them, if you are not set up with them, they're going to ask you, where do I send the paperwork for you to fill out and return? Where do I send the broker carrier packet? Where do I send the carrier packet to? So let me show you what that is. So we're still on this first line right here, searching for and booking loads, processing all brokerage paperwork. So in forms and documents, here's the carrier packet and here's the rate confirmation. These two documents are the broker/shippers forms of paperwork. So when when the dispatch agreement is saying processing all brokers, basically you're filling out the carrier packet is what gets you set up with that. And this is just an example of what one carrier packet looks like. Broker carrier agreement carrier packet it means the same thing. It's the same exact thing. It's an agreement between the broker and the carrier to get set up with that brokerage to run that specific loads and other loads going forward for that brokerage. Okay? And this is the verbiage. You can look at this for yourself and read through it, get an idea of what are some of the things that it talks about. Carrier responsibilities, broker's responsibilities, the basic carrier represents and warns that, and then, I'll be a good carrier. I'll make sure I deliver on time, nothing damaged, stuff like that. What's the responsibilities of the broker? Number 2. Number 3, what's the responsibilities of the carriers? And it goes through that. Any loss, damage claims. These are some of the standard verbiage that you will see in the carrier package. And then miscellaneous stuff, non-exclusive agreements. In other words, you can't sell the load to somebody else if the carrier once you get under agreement. No back solicitation. In other words, if you back solicitation means if you get to a shipper to pick up a load for that brokerage, you can talk to the shipper and say, hey, I want to get my next load directly from you, and cut the broker out. So that's basically what that means.
Okay.
And then other things, and then the broker signs their side, the carrier signs their side. Now, in the dispatcher agreement, here, this little clause right here gives the dispatcher permission on the carrier's behalf to fill out this carrier packet for the carrier, because they may be driving. Say you got them under a load and you're trying to find their next load, and you're successful finding their next load. Well, they're on the road driving to deliver the first load. So to keep them running in a smooth transition, the carrier sometimes will say, okay, fill that out for me and send it in. Well, you have to first give me permission. And I put in the dispatch agreement, carrier also authorizes dispatcher to complete carrier setup packets for any and all brokerages on carrier's behalf, as well as complete any and all rate cons on carrier's behalf. So once the carrier initials that, starts filling out the dispatcher agreement and send it back. Now that gives you, that's like a power of attorney, gives you permission to do that on their behalf. And it makes the transition, it saves a lot of time, as opposed to sitting on, waiting on the carrier to get his current load delivered and then fill out this paperwork for the next load. That load could have gotten booked by somebody else. So why not have the dispatcher do that for you, the person that you're paying 10% to do it anyway? So, follow?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, back to the dispatcher agreement. All billing, invoicing, collections of revenue from customers, brokers, shippers are the sole responsibility of the carrier. That role is not played by the dispatcher. The job of getting paid for a load is the carrier's job. Sometimes a dispatcher may get involved in that, but it is the responsibility of the carrier to get paid for the load with whom the carrier and the broker have an agreement under. It's not a broker dispatcher agreement. It's a broker carrier agreement. So this line here, that's the reason for this line saying that all the billing and invoicing stuff is the responsibility of the carrier. So if the carrier has a factoring company under their belt, then the factory company steps in and pays the carrier his upfront money minus their percentage, and then they go after the broker for the remaining revenue. That's the beauty of having a factory company for a carrier. And then right here, if revenue for a shipment or shipments is uncollectible, in other words, if the broker doesn't want to pay the carrier after they delivered the load for whatever reason, you, dispatcher, will be held harmless and no penalty or deduction of fees will be made. So you're not involved in the fact that a broker may not want to pay a carrier for delivering that load. You have the choice of whether you want to invoice that carrier for your 10%, whether the broker paid them or not. Now, I've had situations where a carrier and I, we were in pretty good relationships. We found the load, booked the load, ran the load. The broker didn't want to pay. So I was fair with the carrier. I said, well, the broker didn't pay you, so I don't want to. I know we booked loads and you paid me before for other loads. This broker doesn't want to pay you. I'm not going to invoice you, for that load, and we'll just find another load. And he was, he appreciated that because this was a struggling carrier, and he was he was just starting out with his authority. So for me to, charging for that at that time, I would have been doing the same thing the broker was, kind of taking advantage of him. So even though I could have, because I provided a service, right? I found the load, took the time to find the load, booked the load with the broker and everything like that. But he had to go after, and he didn't have a factoring company, so he had to go after the broker in small claims. Now, eventually, he got the monies for that load, and he eventually reached out to me and said, I'm going to send you that 10% now. I got that money. So it worked out. But you never see that in the beginning. You just, I use my heart instead of my head in that instance. So.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so now, any questions so far?
No, I'm following.
Okay, so now this next paragraph right here. The carrier, truck driver, owner, operator, agrees to maintain all proper license permits to conduct business as a motor carrier. This basically is saying that for us to have a dispatcher agreement, you have to make sure that you're maintaining all the necessary licenses and permits that you need as a truck driver. You need to have your MC authority updated. You need to have your certificate of insurance correct, with liability and cargo and any other requirements on the policy. And then you also need to be in business with a W-9 and an EIN number. That's basically what it's saying.
Okay.
And then right here, dispatcher will be held harmless in the event of any and all claims. So in other words, if the carrier that you have a dispatcher agreement with he picks up a load, everything was good when he picked it up from the shipper, they checked the pallet count, nothing was damaged, they loaded the truck, he signed the first of the 3 carbon copy BOLs, tore off that first carbon copy with 2 remaining for the shipper, drove that load safely to the receiver to offload it, and for whatever reason there's something on there damaged or he was late, things like that. So a claim may possibly be filed against the carrier. That has nothing to do with the dispatcher. You did not drive the truck, you did not load the truck or anything like that. So, but for the sake of legality, it's good to have it documented in the dispatcher agreement. So it's there. It's obvious, but it's still there. It needs to be there. You shouldn't be held. So in other words, if someone files a claim against your carrier with whom you have a dispatcher agreement, there's no legal recourse to go after you as well as the dispatcher. That's basically all that means.
Okay.
Okay? And then I just put the fee. On this particular dispatch agreement, I just put the fee. You may put 7%, 8% starting off and things like that. So, and then here basically saying that once the carrier is paid first, then you go ahead and invoice for your percentage of the gross load. So in other words, if you charge 10% and the load paid $3,000 gross, then of course you're going to invoice for how much?
I'll invoicing for $300.
There you go, $300. So, and then here's that one paragraph allowing them to say, yeah, you have permission to fill out the rate cons and the carrier packets on my behalf. Oh, speaking of which, this is the broker carrier agreement or carrier packet. Here is the rate con. This is what a rate or an example of what a rate confirmation looks like. What a rate confirmation is once you talk to a broker, you're filling out the carrier packet for your carrier on a particular load, sending that in. The broker usually asks for other things too in order to get carriers set up. Namely, 3 main things. They're going to ask for a copy of the MC authority letter. They're going to ask for a copy of the certificate of insurance, and they're going to ask for a copy of the W-9. Well, gee, what do those things look like? Well, it's funny you should ask, Alicia, because I have them right here on the website. These are other documents, right? There's mainly 3, but sometimes 4. So when you are filling out the dispatcher agreement with your carrier and they are going to return the dispatch agreement along with the profile, it's also good in the body of your email to have them return copies of their W-9, their MC authority letter, and their certificate of insurance. That way you can put that in your internal company's filing system, so every time you book a load for that carrier, you don't have to chase that carrier down for those documents. You already have them in your filing system, and it saves a lot of time.
Okay.
It just makes sense to get everything up front. So this is the dispatcher agreement. And here is so any questions about the dispatch agreement?
No. I'm following you. I've just printed it out, so I'm able to see it. It makes sense. It's like you said. It's plain. It's clear. It's simple.
Okay, great. So now the profile is the second piece. The profile is the carrier's way of telling you how they want you to find loads for them. So here's their information: Exodus Logistics, Anywhere USA, 123 Main Street. And then you ask a series of questions, so when you go to load board, you can cater your load search according to the profile that they filled out. So they're going to tell you whether they like to travel in the mountains. They're going to define their equipment type. Remember the equipment type? The trailer basically defines what equipment type, right? Because everybody has a tractor, but it depends on the trailer attached to that tractor. So they may have a flatbed equipment type, a reefer, or a dry van. They're going to list that there, and whether it's 48 or 53 foot. So you can have an idea when you're searching for loads, you don't want to exceed the length of that trailer. So you'll have that idea. Do you do long haul, basically over the road, yes or no, or what states? So they're putting that in there. They want to be as clear as you. So when you look for loads to them, and then you call them back, you have everything that they need according to the profile. Do you do short hauls? Do you do loads? What is the maximum load capacity of your trailer? So depending on the equipment type, again, flatbeds, 8,000 pounds max. Reefers and dry vans, about 42 to 45,000 pounds max. Now, as a smart carrier, they usually try to stay 3,000 to 5,000 pounds below their max. One of the main reasons why is because they want to save on fuel costs. The cost of diesel is expensive. So if they can get loads that still pay well, but it's well below their maximum weight capacity, that's ideal for a carrier.
Mm-hmm.
So then what days do you like off? And then the main one is yellow, how much money you need to move your truck. In other words, what is the minimum you'll take cents per mile for a load? And then again, back to the equipment type, depends on the equipment type, and the trends out there for the market determines, like, flatbed maybe $3, reefer $2.50, dry vans $2.25 a mile, so on and so forth. So they'll fill this out, return this profile along with the dispatch agreement, along with the other documents.
Okay.
Which is the MC authority letter. This is what the authority letter looks like. I don't know if you've seen one or not.
No.
U.S. Department of Transportation. This is kind of fuzzy. I'm going to have to get a clearer one. It shows the MC number, DOT number. And remember I said common carrier, MC type?
Right.
Common carrier of property except household goods. That's what you're going to mainly look for when you see their MC authority letter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
And then the W-9 looks like a standard W-9, right? You've seen these before.
Yes.
So the main thing is they're filling out their information, their name as it appears on the tax return. And then if they have a DBA, their business name, like Exodus Logistics. Line 3 is the federal tax classification, whether they're independent, individual sole proprietor, or single member LLC, C Corp, S Corp, partnership, limited liability. That's their legal structure. 5 and 6 is their street address, city, state, and zip. And then you go down here to part 1. Most cases, if they're a business, they usually put their EIN number instead of their social. I've had truck drivers send me a W-9 with a social, and I called back. I said, man, I recommend highly that you don't do that. I would recommend you go to the IRS.gov and apply for an EIN number. It takes about 5 minutes, and they'll email it right back to you. And it's still 9 digits. If you notice, your social is 9, 3 by 2 by 4. But the EIN is also 9. It's 2 by 7. Mm-hmm. So it's the same number of digits. It's just structured differently.
Okay.
So, and then they'll just sign and date it. So this proves that you have a business because you have an EIN number, federal ID identification number attached to your business. and your legal structure, whatever that is. And then certificate of insurance. This is what a standard certificate of insurance look like from Accord Insurance. The producer, which is the insurance company, the insured, which is the truck driver. Over here is the insurance agent, their information, first name, last name, cell number, phone and fax, email, the date policy. Down here is important area, different types. So you got general liability, auto liability, cargo, and the amounts. Again, the standard minimum requirements for liability is $1 million, and then the standard for cargo is $100,000. And then down here is an important area too, where it says certificate holder. Sometimes if you deal with brokers, with your carrier, you call them a load, a broker will sometimes ask you, when you send the certificate of insurance in, make sure that you list us or our brokerage as a certificate holder. So what that means is all you do is call the agent on the insurance and say, hey, I'm the dispatcher for Exodus Logistics, a certificate of insurance listing the following as the certificate holder. They're going to say, okay, I need the name of that company, the street address, city, state, and zip. And they're going to put that information right in here and then resend you this whole certificate of insurance, which you forward to the broker. That's all that means.
So that can happen just in one phone call, just right away. They can update that.
Yes, they can update it either a phone call or an email, depending on how fast or the relationship that you have with your carrier's insurance agent. If you communicate with them quickly through email or through phone. And they'll say, once you tell them that, they'll say, who do I email or fax this to? If you have a fax line, have them fax it to you. If you want them to email it to you, have them email it to you, and you can CC your carrier as well as the brokerage that you're dealing with.
Okay.
So if you CC the broker that you're dealing with, you know they got a copy of it already. So you got your copy, they have their copy, you know, and you kill 3 birds with 1 stone. You emailed you, your carrier, and the broker. But just so you know, what I used to do, I used to have them email to me, and then I would forward it to the broker. And then if my carrier wanted a copy of it, I would just send a copy of it to him upon request.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But that's the problem. You're going to hear that a lot. You're going to hear brokers say, because some of their customers who are the shippers, see, brokers have customers too. Their customers are the shipper. They work for the shipper. They get contracts from the shipper to move these loads all the time, and then because they're the middleman. That's why the name broker comes from. They are a broker. They're the middleman between the shipper and the truck driver. So the shipper is saying, okay, I got a lot of loads I need to move. I don't have time to deal with all these carriers. I'm going to broker these loads to a third-party company, which is the brokerage. So they contract between the shipper and the broker. The broker deals with the carriers. But one of the stipulations of dealing with carriers by the shipper through the broker could be that the shipper requires on the insurance that the brokerage be listed as a certificate holder, because the shipper, they're thinking about their freight. Say I'm a shipper and I ship something to my client Walmart, right? I'm a manufacturer, a shipping manufacturer, and I need to ship goods to Walmart. I'm going to use a broker, but I require that broker to list any carrier that you're going to move my freight to Walmart under need to be listed as a certificate holder on the insurance, because I need to know that they are legit. Mm-hmm. So that could be a requirement for one. And other shippers don't care. You know, it's a hit or miss. But that's the process. Okay. Sometimes shippers get more specific and have these grandiose requirements of the brokers. Other shippers like, so I don't care. I'm brokering it. Move these loads. I'll pay you. I don't care how you get there. My target rate is $5,000. You can take off the top, just the broker, whatever you want, and then sell it to the carrier. So this is what a broker does. They get a target rate of $5,000 that they're going to invoice the shipper for. They'll take 20% of the top, which is $1,000, and then resell the load to the carrier for $4,000. So that's the game. So Those are documents, carrier profile, and the rate confirmation is basically when you finally book the load with the broker is going to send you. In other words, once you fill out the carrier packet and you send the carrier packet in along with the other documents to the broker, they're going to process all that information in their system, their TMS system, their transportation management software. They're going to run it by their compliance team to make sure everything is legit. They're going to call you back as a dispatcher and say, hey, your carrier's been approved. They're set up with our brokerage. Who do I send the rate confirmation for this specific load that you called me about initially? Who do I send that to? You're going to say, email it to me as a dispatcher. They're going to send you a rate confirmation, and here's an example of what one looks like. So they're going to send you one. It's going to have detailed information about the load number, the reference number, phone number of the carrier, because this is needed by the carrier when they get to the shipper, so the shipper will be able to identify the load that they need to load on the truck based off the load number.
Okay.
So, and then when you get to the receiver, they need to identify that load that's being delivered based off of the load number and reference number. So, someone asked a question. Let me see here. Victor asks, when you fill out the packet and sign the rate con, you sign your name. You sign the carrier's name. Yeah, because you're representing the carrier. The dispatcher, the broker carrier agreement is between the broker and the carrier. You're just filling it out from an administrative standpoint because you are the middleman between the broker and your carrier. Just like the broker is the middleman between the shipper and the carrier, the dispatcher is the middle person between the broker and the carrier. So when you fill out the carrier packet, let me go back to the carrier packet. When you fill out the carrier packet, you're putting in information about the carrier. If you notice here, let's say we're doing one, right? This 5th day of January 2020 between ABC Brokerage, here in Refresh Brokerage, and ABC Trucking, here in Trucker. So you're filling this out. The brokers already put their information in when they sent this carrier packet to you. They've already pre-filled out their information. They've already signed and filled out their portion of the broker side at the end. When you receive a broker-carrier agreement, their information is already filled out. They're just waiting on you or the carrier directly to fill out the carrier side and return it to them so they can process it through and get your carrier approved or not. If they're not approved, they're going to tell you the reason why. Maybe their insurance has lapsed. They need to call the insurance agent and get an updated policy and rush that to them so they can get approved for this load. Sometimes brokers will hold for a period of time, maybe like a few hours, while you are calling and getting that updated insurance cleared and emailed to that broker so you won't lose that load. And sometimes that's worth it because if that load is paying good enough, it's worth going through that little process. But to answer your question, Victor, yeah, when you fill it out, the broker-carrier agreement, you're filling out on your carrier's behalf. So you're putting the carrier's name. And so the question is, well, where are you getting that information from? Well, you're getting it from the dispatcher agreement, right? Everything that you need about the carrier should be on the dispatcher agreement and the profile. You know, who they are, what the name, address, so on and so forth. Everything should be, all the data should be available on the dispatch agreement and or profile, right? So you filling out, all you're putting in here is their name, right? And you're going to go down here. First, you're going to look over some of the information and review it with your carrier, especially if things you don't quite understand, like pay, for example. Let's say your carrier, whether he does or does not have a factory company. Let's say he does not have a factory company. Brokers offer 3 payment options. They offer quick pay for, what's that, 5%, which is 1 to 2 days, 24 to 48 hour quick pay at 5%. They offer 5 to 7 wire transfer or ACH transfer, which is called American Clearinghouse. It's an ACH wire transfer. It goes into a routing number and checking number, or routing number and savings account number. They offer that at 3%. And then they offer the standard paper check 15 to 45 days out, mailed to the truck driver's physical address. So those are the 3 payment options that brokers offer if your carrier doesn't have a factory company. If your carrier has a factory company and the broker still offers the payment options on the carrier agreement, you just check NA that you don't need it because they have a factory company. And then you just move on. And the broker, brokers deal with carriers who have factory companies and who do not have factory companies all the time. So they know when you say, okay, I don't need payment options, I got a factory company. So then they'll ask you, you'll send the NOA, the notice of assignment from the factory company to the brokerage. The notice of assignment is a way for your carrier's factory company to run a check on the brokerage to make sure that there are no red flags and that they pay on time. So it's a safety net for your carrier. They're going to check and see, has this broker been reported as not paying on time, or his days to pay are way past the standard? Are there any flags? What's the grade on the broker? Are they A-rated brokerage? Are they a B-rated, C, whatever? And then they'll get that information back, and they'll let the carrier know, hey, maybe you might want to reconsider because this brokerage may not want to pay you in time, stuff like that. So a factory company serves that purpose to kind of assist, especially newer carriers. They assist them in that type of process. But here on the completing the carrier packet, on the carriers to have, so the brokers already filled out their portion when they sent the initial carrier packet to you, then right here is where you fill out the carrier's information, authorized signature. You'll sign the carrier's name, you'll print the carrier's name, the title is usually owner, standard, then their company address, you put their company address, phone, fax number if they have it, and email. And again, you're getting that information either from the dispatcher agreement or the profile. Okay, Victor? Any other questions on that? Okay, so let's see, load confirmation. So once you fill out the carrier packet, return that with the other 3 documents, the W-9, MC authority letter, and the certificate of insurance. All that gets processed. Your carrier gets approved. The broker says, who do I need to send the rate-con to? You say, okay, send it to my email. This is the rate-con, the rate confirmation. It's basically telling you everything you need to know about the load, your carrier, everything they need to know about the load, the shipper address or consigner. Another name for the shipper is consigner, and then the consignee is another name for the consignee is the receiver, their address. So you're picking up from the shipper and you're delivering it to the receiver. So the dates and times in either case, any extra pickups and stops, where they're located, the address, phone number, what the load is paying, any other terms, the name of the brokerage, the load number so you can identify how many pieces, how many pallets, how many miles it's going, the weight, what's the commodity. In other words, what's the freight that's actually being hauled. It could be dry goods, it could be produce, it could be beverages, what have you. So that's what that means. So the rate confirmation, once the rate confirmation is sent to you, and again, you sign on behalf of your carrier the same way you do with the carrier packet, you do with the rate confirmation. You're filling it out with your carrier's information, not yours. You're the dispatcher, so you're filling it out for with the carrier's name and information, their title, owner, their name printed, their signature signed, and their phone number. You're doing that for them because this is the service that you do as a dispatcher for your carrier. So once this is signed and sent back to the broker, the load is officially booked. That's the process. The load is officially booked.
So once the load is officially booked, Do the dispatcher have any, as far as, because I understood in one video you said that the freight broker will contact the driver to check his location and everything about the load.
Right, correct.
At any point, does the dispatcher have to deal with those phone calls?
Yes, yes. The dispatcher comes in. Their phone number is like a secondary phone number because once this is booked, the broker's going to ask for the driver's first and last name, their cell number, and truck and trailer number so they can identify that truck that's hauling that freight for their customer who's the shipper. So they do what's called check calls. They'll do a check call when the driver gets to the shipper just to verify that they're there to pick the load up. They'll call the driver's cell number. If they can't get hold of the cell number, they'll call the dispatcher. And then we contact the driver and say, okay, are you at the shipper? You say, yeah, I just got here at, let's see, today is Sunday. I just got here Sunday at 12 o'clock. I'm at the security gate now checking in. They told me to go to door number 3. So I'll call the broker back. Yeah, he's there. He just got there about 20 minutes ago. He's about to get loaded. He's at door number 3. I say, okay, I'll call back. So they're tracking. They're doing check calls every so often. They'll do a check call when they get to the shipper. They'll do a check call about halfway in the route or what they estimate to be halfway in the route, depending on the number of miles and where the freight is going. And then they'll do a check call on the day that the load was scheduled to be delivered to the consignee or the receiver. That's what the broker do because they're trying to. This is a requirement of the broker by their customer. Again, the shipper, because the shipper wants to keep track of their freight. Because if I'm a shipper again and I'm hauling goods to Walmart, I need to know when it's going to get here. So let Walmart know, okay, my goods are at your store. The truck just arrived. So part of the requirement of the shipper for a broker is to do check calls with the drivers to see where they are along that route. And if there's any discrepancy, say the driver get a flat tire or he's caught up in traffic, you need to let the broker know that so he can plan accordingly. But if you do nothing, then that can delay a lot of things. So communication is important. So there always want to be a communication between the broker and the dispatcher or the broker and the carrier because that builds a good relationship and the broker will want to deal with you again. Even if it's something bad, let's say your carrier, something happened to the carrier that was out of his control. He ran over something and blew his tire out. You can't control that. You didn't know that was going to be on the road, right? So the carrier called you, the dispatcher, and then you reached out to the broker and say, hey, my guy got a flat tire. Roadside assistance is on their way to be there about an hour. So it's going to be about an hour and a half, 2 hours tops late. So the broker said, hey, thanks for calling. So what he's going to do is he's going to call his shipper and let them know. So he's prepaid. That way everybody is in the know. But if somebody doesn't know in that chain, that could cause problems. So if the shipper doesn't know that the broker's driver caught a flat, the shipper is still expecting that freight to get there on the time that it was supposed to gotten there.
That's right.
You see? So you have to communicate, right? All right. Okay. Let's see. So that's the Raycon, and let's go back to. So we were in module 1. Well, we kind of went through all the other 4, but we started off in module 1, and we just got going there.
Mm-hmm.
So we know the equipment types. We know what the trailer that determines the equipment type is not the tractor. So a tractor without a trailer is basically called a power only unit. Okay, methods for acquiring, getting the carriers to sign or get under a dispatch agreement. So how do you get them? Well, number one, you can physically, if you have truck stops that are in your location where you live, like within a 25-mile, 20-mile, 15, 10-mile radius, you can physically go up there with some of your business cards, flyers, and, let them know I'm a dispatcher. I can find loads for you. Are you okay with what you got? Would you be interested in looking at other loads that I may be able to find for you? What are you looking for specifically? And let me see if I can find it for you. Start a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one is cold calling. There are several sources that we use for cold callings. One of the ones is Truckers Path. Another one is called Dat Directory. There's several of them. And there's scripts for that. How much money you need to move your truck. I usually go from are you under a load or looking for a load, do live calls, go there. And then we use a paper website to kind of vet out that process. So when we're doing cold calls on either the DAT directory or the Truckers Path, I usually put the MC or DOT number into the Safer website to kind of vet out those drivers to see if they're part of another brokerage or not. That's because I don't want to do any double brokering. That's a no-no in this industry. So we put a dispatch agreement profile and the other documents explaining what they were, and actually show the picture. So it's kind of a repetitive part there, but that's good if you want to get that data into your system as much as possible until it becomes like second nature, right?
Right.
So let's go to, we're still under the category of carrier acquisition. So let's go to Truckers Path, and let's open up the Safer website to kind of give you an idea of that process. So here's the Safer website that I was talking about. Here's Truckers Path, which you have access to as an enrolled member. So let's say that this is one of the methods that you decide to use to try to get a carrier, which is cold calling, under a dispatch agreement. And let's say that Truckers Path is the load board that you're using to do that. So when you first log in, I just click that yellow thing out the way. Click Truck Search, and then this little gray box area right here. Pick up equipment, safety ratings. I usually leave, and it's thinking now. It's going to show all the drivers. So it's 197 right now, and it groups it in 50. So 1 of 50 of 197. So it's going to be about 2 or 3 pages. So 4 pages. So 50, 150, yeah, close to 200. So right. So what I do, I leave all states the same because I want to give myself a chance to find drivers all over, especially in those areas. So you, after doing a little bit of research, you want to see, okay, what parts of the country do you have a lot of those moving towards? Do you focus on those areas that call the carriers? Victor asked the question. I have 2 hotshot carriers under agreement, and it's hard as hell to find them work on the board. Victor, I agree.
Is it really hard to find work for a hotshot?
Well, it's a challenge because again, they're not one of the 3 main. Let's go back to Internet Truck Stop. Mm-hmm. So Victor, are they 40-foot hot shots, 36, 30-foot hot shots? What's the weight? Give me their specs. So I'm gonna prove Victor's case. So let's say that they were 40-foot hot shots, right? So I'm gonna say, and then let me ask Victor. Victor, where? Okay, he just posted an answer. Okay, 1 to 30-foot and 11,000 pounds. Okay, so where is? And then 1 is 40 feet. So I'm gonna do the 40-foot and 15,000 pounds. That one's okay. So where is the what state or what city and the are they in? The 40 footer and the 30 footer. See, Hot Shots will get under an agreement with you in a heartbeat. Yeah. See, even Mike said Hot Shots are easy to sign an agreement, but hard to find loads. So Tulsa and Mobile. Okay, so the 30-foot one in Tulsa, I'm assuming Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the 40-footer is in Mobile, Alabama. So let's assume that that's the case. So Mobile, Alabama, and I'm on Internet Truck Stop. I don't want to hear H for Hot Shot. So Hot Shot right there, right? And let's leave the destination. Okay, so the Brownsville search is for yours, Victor. Brownsville, Texas. That's where he's at now. Okay, that's the 30-footer. He's in Brownsville. So let's edit search here. You got 71 Brownsville, Texas for a flatbed and a flatbed A. So what's a flatbed A? Let's look that up. Oh, flatbed air ride. Maybe you should edit this and put Hot Shot. Let's edit your search and put Hot Shot. So if we go back in here and edit, and just, I'll flatbed A, but let's say, okay, the 5th and the 6th. Let's just change this. It's flatbed and flatbed A, but let's just change it to Hot Shot. And it has nothing. Let's change, and you got within 200 deadhead. Here's one here. It's 198 miles from Brownsville, which is in Victoria, and it's going to Miami, Florida. It's 25 feet, which is 30 for you. But the weight, it's more than the weight that you can handle for your 30-footers. It's 26, yours is 11. See? Therein lies the problem. But let's do Hot Shot. I'm going to go to another. Mike said they'll sign and send back the contract while you're still on the phone with them because they need help. But I'm going to do Mobile, Alabama for a Hot Shot and see what we have. My radius is 100 miles. I'm going to do 200 miles and see if I can get some more. So let me edit this and change it to 200 miles radius. And I'm going to leave the pick dates blank. Yes, you can do LTL for flatbed. Yes, you can, Robert. So here's some because they even have partials, 30 feet, 18 feet loads. Let's open up also 123. Let me open up 123 load board because I can do a better search for Hot Shots in there. So now we are 1, 2, 3. They got a new layout here. So let's look at 1, 2, 3, and let's try to find some LTL or hot shots for 1, 2, 3. So Mobile, Alabama, right?
So question, for the weight, so for the weight, one is saying 11,000, one is saying 15,000. Is there a way for them to adjust so that they're able to maybe haul a little bit more, or is that just their max?
That's probably not their max. That's probably what they prefer to haul because, again, they're trying to save on fuel.
Okay.
But they can get some LTL, less than truckload freight, and a bunch of partials. They can run a couple of partials and try to make up that money. But it's a challenge. That's why I like dealing with the dry vans, the flatbeds, and the reefers.
Okay.
Yeah, see, that's what Victor said. That's what they prefer. They prefer that. So let's see. So I'm going to select flatbed, but I'm going to do general flatbeds, and then I'm going to select specialized. It should say not specialized, so specs. So I'm going to hit none and I'm going to select hot shot right there. So this is, and then he said air ride. So air ride and then hot shots. Okay. Flatbeds, however, and then go, and then no pickup date. Any size, no, we're going to say LTL. And we're going to say weight, let's say 15,000. So we can specify, and then length, we'll say 40 feet. So we're giving a specific, we can do more option and show the rates, or we can leave it blank and then not do it. Well, we got something right here. So we got 5 loads that are reasonable, but they're not paying. There's 8,000 pounds at $800. So within the weight, and it's 9 feet. It's an LTL, it's a van or a flatbed. It's going 986 miles, but it's paying $800. That's less than $1 a mile. That would be ridiculous, right? Here's a 7-foot LTL, 9,000 pounds. It's going 840 miles, but it's only paying $500. So, but if you had enough length, so 9 and 7 is 16, 8 and 9 is 17,000 pounds. So if you were able to find 2 loads in the same city like these 2 right here and going to almost the same direction, which they are not, you can combine 2 partials and make your money. But that's where the challenge is for the hotshot carriers. Now, unless you come across we have a hotshot load board. It's called hotshot carriers. Unless you deal with brokers who specialize in LTLs, or if you get military freight that you could, because most militaries they'll do partials and LTLs with hotshots because it's easier to get them on the base with those hotshots than it is with the tractor trailers. You got to go through those Sally ports, and you got to deal with the truck controls at the military ports or the bases, and getting them TWIC cards and bids and all this other stuff, getting them inspected pretty quicker. So, but yeah, there's the challenge. Therein lies the challenge. Any questions? This new layout of 1, 2, 3 load board is different. All right, someone's commented here. Let me see. I've been cold calling brokers trying to get on their email list. They are probably not Are they asking you, are you a trucking company or a dispatcher? How's the conversation going, Victor? What I would do as far as trying to get a hold of brokers, getting on their email list, once you start booking loads with brokers for your carriers, and not just hotshot carriers, but the dry vans, the flatbeds, and the reefers, the brokers are going to want to send you emails themselves because they realize they got you as a good customer as far as a dispatcher, and your carrier has been running loads for them successfully. You're not going to have to chase them. They're going to come to you because they see that your carrier is moving their loads all the time successfully. They're going to call you and say, "Hey man, your carrier back in Mobile, Alabama, I got another load." You're not going to have to want to call them because you're going to have a good enough carrier that's moving those loads in a timely manner, no accidents, no claims. Those are the types of carriers that brokers love, and they're going to try to stay in contact with you and them as much as possible. Right, yeah. Use your social media platform. Take advantage of this Dispatcher One-on-One network of other carriers. Other dispatchers with carriers, and try to leverage. You want to leverage the playing field as much as possible in your direction when it comes to dealing with brokers. You want to let them know that you have access to a number of trucks that can be in. What are their lanes? Ask them, what lanes do you run your loads in? In other words, a lane is an origin and a destination. Where the load is being picked up and where it's being delivered is one lane. So that Mobile, Alabama to Detroit, Michigan, that's one lane. A pickup to a destination. That's all that means. So you ask them, how many lanes do you run your loads in? They say we have several. You ask, okay, well, what are they? So I can put my trucks in those lanes. Brokers like to be real ambiguous at times. So you have to get real specific sometimes with them. So any other questions? Let's see. Oh yeah, I was on Trucker's Path, right? So navigating Trucker's Path in the code calling category of how do we go after carriers or acquire carriers, right, under a dispatch agreement. So one of the methods, the first method was the truck stop. The other method was, or another method is code calling. So $197, so equipment type, I'm going to hit any and then select the three ones that we were talking about, flatbed, van, and reefer. And then the safety category, I'm just going to only select satisfactory and hit search. So I've changed the search criteria, so this 197 should get smaller. A drop deck trailer is it's 48 to 53 foot. It's outside. It's in the flatbed category. So that 197 changed to 101. So let's give you an idea what that is, Victor. Drop deck, step deck trailer. Upper deck, lower deck, drop deck. That's what that is. A drop deck, step deck, it's the same thing. 48 by 102, 48 feet by 102 inches wide. That's what this is, a step deck or a drop deck. The lower drop deck, the upper deck. Okay? Drop deck and step deck is one and the same. Okay, so we got 101 today. This person posted 2 minutes ago, Jay's Trucking LLC. He's a drive-in. That's the name of the company. The driver is John Maina. And then all of them have satisfactory ratings. And John Maina, that's the cell number. So at the end of each one, this little drop down, you can open up and get more information about them. So what I usually do is take their MC or their DOT number, in some cases both, and I copy and paste it into the Safer website to get more information about them, just to make sure that they're not part of a trucking company. They have 2 drivers, which tells me they have 1 unit and 2 drivers. This may be a team. They're based in Renton, Washington. They're driving. They're authorized. They have an MC authority authorized for property. So that's a common carrier. Their entity type is carrier. It's not carrier/broker or carrier/IEP. IEP is intermodal equipment provider. And then here's their information. So 532-5408, so we can see it's the same. So that's probably the company line right there. So then you can decide if you want to call a carrier and then do a cold call, a script, and see where to go from there. So this person's in Virginia. They are a reefer. He posted 6 minutes ago. And we do the same thing, put their DLT or their MC information in there, and Gomez. He's a one-man team. He's Harrisburg, Virginia. He's a carrier property. He got his authority or his MCS 150 back in November. So we can see that as well. Here's some information. He's the reefer guy. So we can actually look up a load for him. We can call him and see what's going on. And then, so for those of you who are comfortable with doing cold calling and talking to carriers, that'll be an option as well. But if you want to hear the conversation of a dispatcher and a carrier, then you guys want me to call this person now so you guys can get an idea or what? Yes, no, maybe? All right, Robert says yeah. I figured Robert was going to say that. All right, calling him. Hey, Eric.
You have reached the voicemail box of 540607.
Voicemail. So, and he was a reefer carrier, so I was going to ask him certain statements and questions and lingo according to his equipment type. So when you're talking to the 3 major equipment types, you understand the lingo that comes along with that equipment type. So with the reefer, you want to make sure, you're asking them questions about, how many picks and how many drops do you prefer to do? What's your cents per mile? Are you under a load now or looking for a load? Stuff like that. The drive-in, I would ask you just some basic stuff. Are you under a load, looking for a load? He was a team guy. And then we got a van reefer. We got a flatbed. Powered by Holy Ghost Transport. Okay. Let me laugh. That's just unusual, I guess. Felix Rivera, flatbed. So I looked up a van, a reefer, and a flatbed. So one of each equipment type. So let's go and look up that. And 1 and 1. He's a one-man. Back in May, got his MC, or he could have renewed it. So, but he got it because his previous years wasn't there, so it must be that's his first time. Powered by Holy Ghost Transport. He's out of Miami. He's out of Miami, but he's currently, where is he now? Okay, he's in northern Florida right now. So he's a flatbed. So with flatbed carriers, what I usually call, when it says flatbed here, since hot shots are under the flatbed category, I usually ask them, do you have a 48 or a 53-foot flatbed? If they say, no, I'm a hot shot, right then and there, then you decide if you want to go ahead and continue the conversation and then, or not, right? So let's see. 3, 5, 7, 3, 9, 7, 13. Okay. Speaker. Mike. And I usually have a notebook, pen handy, ready to write some information. He's in Florida on the East Coast, so I figure he may be asleep. Maybe doing his 34-hour reset. So after I get out of this training, I may give some calls.
Please leave your message for 3058739.
So third. Oh. Hotbox LLC. I thought it was Hot Shot, but he's a van, so that would be. But this is what you would do. You would go through this. The technique is you open up a particular one. Of course, you start from the top. I refresh the screen to get the most recent post because that was 9 minutes ago. Someone may have just posted a minute ago looking for something. Are there any questions? Because it's we got about 8 minutes. 5 minutes. Mike says, try another. It's easy to get discouraged. Let's see. Try another one. It's easy to get discouraged. Got to have a strong mind. Yes. You got to have thick skin because they don't know you from Adam. So, yeah. And in the next training on Wednesday, what I'll do is I'm probably going to call some of my older carriers to see where they're standing right now in their carrier duties. I've already been cold calling, even booked a few loads. If you have any carriers, I'd be willing to sub. Oh, okay. So unmute yourself, Victor. That's interesting.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, what you got?
So you said you booked some loads?
Yeah, I actually had a flatbed semi that I had gotten under agreement. It was a husband and wife team, and I had booked like 2 or 3 loads for them, and then they decided, I guess, the husband told the wife she need to do it herself. So they was like, okay, they didn't really need me no more. So I had one for a little bit that I was able to get some work done for, but that dried up real quick. So I'm back out here cold calling because these hot shots ain't getting it.
Yeah, but you've actually booked the load, went through that process, gotten paid and everything.
Yes, sir. I got my first PayPal payment from them a couple weeks ago, so I've officially made my first $1.
Yeah, see, so there you go. And you just joined the platform.
I joined it. I just paid my first subscription month, so I guess this is going on the second month.
Yeah, but it's been like 3 months, 90 days.
Not even.
Not even. See, so it's possible because some people, they'll ask that question, well, man, I'm struggling, So what did you do to get that carrier? You cold called it? You went to a truck stop?
Yep, cold calling off a trucker path.
Okay, and then what did you say? What was your dialogue? Because the reason I'm asking you in this recording because other people are listening who just joined and they're trying to get a sense of what it's,
I kind of took from your book. I called them, and it was during the evening, after 6 o'clock or so. And I just called them and asked them were they in need of a I can't remember exactly what I said, but basically I asked them if they needed a dispatcher. I told them where I got the information from, so they wouldn't think I was a crazy stalker or something. And
Right.
Luckily, the one that I did get, she was the wife. She was like, well, they had just signed an agreement with another dispatcher, and he was charging them 7%, and I was only doing 5%. So she gave me a shot because I guess I got lucky because that was amidst a whole bunch of no's. And then
Right.
it took her a while for her to get the agreement back to me, but once we did, I was able to get a couple loads, and they all came off a trucker path, which seems like I was having the best luck. And I was able to get them 2 loads. One load was it was all in Texas because I'm in Houston. One load was, they ended up making like $80 off of them. One load was like $500-$600, but they got another one for like $1,100, and it wasn't hard at all. It was just getting on the same wavelength with the driver, so you ain't got to ask as many questions, and because the work is there, you just got to
Right.
get the people with the right equipment types, and it's not hard. I was calling the brokers, and I went through that. I had a few brokers because they were a new MC, so I had ran across a few brokers that was like no, but it was the same thing on that side. So once you get under the agreement, if you got somebody new, you still can run into a few hurdles, but then you have some brokers. I had learned after a little bit of time, I would start off the conversation like, look, we're a new MC. Before I ask any other questions, and they'd be like, oh, no, it's cool. And then we'll go from there, and we made the deal. So it worked out.
Right. There you go. So I just wanted to make sure that what the content and the information I'm providing, I mean, apparently is helping. It's working, right? So.
No, yeah, for sure. It worked. It worked. It's just, you just got to find that needle in the proverbial haystack. That's what it is. Because I realize it is a service that they can do themselves, so you just have to find a person who either don't want to do it or give them an offer they can't refuse. So that's what I'm trying to work on now, is how to figure out how to have them agree knowing that they can do this themselves. So you just kind of have to make it sound in a way that you're helping them out and making it easier for them. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
Right, and what I used to tell them is like, well, there's a time factor. So while you're spending the time driving, you may be on the call. You can't drive and look for a load at the same time. So while you're under a load, going to deliver that load, I can have your next load waiting for you, and your next load, and your next load, so on and so forth. So it's a time thing. So, and it's the service.
Tell them I'm another set of eyes out there for them, and
yep.
That way they don't have to look. But yeah, now a lot of them they're figuring out they can kind of do it themselves. But like you said, it's a time thing, and yeah, that's it. But no, what you're saying, man, it's worked for me. I just got to get back on cold calling now, especially after the holidays. I'm gonna hit it hard this coming week. So
yeah. So there you go. And then so your base is 5% at this point.
Yeah, that's why I come in with 5% right now.
Okay. So what I'll do is on the sub dispatching, I got some 10%ers that we can split. Once I need to call them because it's been a while. It's the New Year, so I need to call them 10%ers and say, okay, yeah, I need some loads, Charles, and then send them to those seats. You've been booking loads, you got the experience, and I'll send them to others who are new, who need to get the experience, because the only way you're going to learn is just jumping in and doing it, right? I mean, I can do as much content as possible, but until you actually apply and start doing it, and I'll be here, to kind of like answer questions, and other, like yourself, other people who are on the platform who are actually booking loads too, we're here to help. I mean, that's what the whole platform, the beginner level platform is for. I'm sure that those who have been doing it will be more than willing to provide some feedback and some insight as to how and what they did. It's always about paying it forward. You become a better person by helping other people. You show them what you've done, You know, and of course you'll be blessed in that too, because it'll come back to you. I'm living proof of being blessed. Let's see, the 24th of December was my birthday. I turned 49, and a few days after that, I almost lost my life. Coming out of the tunnel, I'm in Virginia, and I was driving my car coming out the tunnel, and this is actually the first time I shared this. Coming out of the tunnel in my SUV, and the drive shaft just popped. I heard a loud popping noise, so I had to veer and steer, and take control of the wheel in order to prevent being in an accident. And during the time of day, coming out of the tunnel at that time of day, there was a lot of traffic. It was on the weekend, and I veered to the shoulder of the road and caused a little accident, but I was okay. But I didn't know while I was on the phone calling State Farm to get a wrecker out to get me, to get the truck home. I didn't know that the drive shaft was on the ground and sparks were there, and it tapped the tank and fuel was leaking. So the emergency people across on the interstate, you have emergency people who make sure that people who are broken down on the side of the road and things like that, they'll make sure that they got what they need. He saw that, and he started the other bound lanes. I was coming westbound. He came across the eastbound lanes to the truck and said, "Man, you got to get out this truck," because there was sparks coming out and there was fuel dripping. He said, "If you'd have stayed in that truck, it would have blew up." So I was like, wow. So I'm thankful to even be here in 2020 because, someone didn't want me to leave this planet. So, but it's good to be alive. I'm glad, and I'm still glad I'm able to be here to help other people grow on this platform. But that experience, it just puts things in perspective that there's more involved. There's more to life. Helping others is so fulfilling, and it's a blessing to do so. So if there's any way that can help anyone, I've had this mentality and this mindset even prior to this life-changing, life-altering experience about a week or so ago. I've had this anyway, but this is just confirmation that that's what it's all about, helping others. So, but I'm glad that Victor on the 346, he's learning. I mean, he's booked loads and he has the process. Now it's just taking the process and it's expanding it now, even to the point where he can change his percentage type from 5% to 10% and get more carriers under an agreement, and then working the strategy is a little bit different too. So, but the platform is here we're here to grow and learn together, because I'll admit I don't know everything. I mean, I'm learning as well and growing. But from my experience and what I've been doing in dispatching and stuff, I see the process is the same. The process is the same. The players change. The process of dispatching is always going to be the same. The only thing that's different is the carriers and the brokers. We'll get the loads, get the carriers and the brokers. But that process, and those who've done it can attest to that. The process is the same to book that load. The value of those loads are different, but the process is the same. So now you think, what strategies can I use to make my process different or more appealing to the carrier, so when I reach out to them, they'll say, yeah, I want to use you as my dispatcher. So any other questions before we go? Thanks, Eric. Our next training will be Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What I'll do there is reach out to some of my carriers in the recordings. We can start a conversation with them, see where they've been, and then see if we can offer some dispatching services. And I'm going to promote my the sub-dispatching too, to give you guys, especially those enrolled members, a leg up as far as bypassing the carrier acquisition. If I can give you a carrier, we can go ahead and get to that next level of getting loads from the load boards and booking the loads. So, all right. So until then, guys, thanks, Robert. I appreciate it. Until then, see you Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to implement some new things too. I was expecting a call from LaWanda today, Robert, because she wanted to come in and promote her. LaWanda is one of the she was a dispatcher associate as well, and she's blowing up, and she wanted to come back for her consulting services. Now she charges for the service, but she's proven. So I mean, really proven. So she was supposed to call in. She'll call in Wednesday, and I'm gonna have you guys, pick her brain. And then for those of you, I'm going to put her information eventually on my website where you can reach her for consultation services, and then we'll go from there. But LaWanda is the real deal. So Wednesday, yes.
I just wanted to say thank you. Like I said, I'm excited that I joined your platform. I'm gonna have more questions coming. I have some things that I'm working on so that I can get an understanding of certain things. A lot of it I do understand from watching you, and I'm just gonna jump into some of these modules, and I'll have more questions so that I can be ready, because I'm ready.
Okay, and then also too, I'm testing different internal chat groups on my website. I got one here. If you guys could go to the chat groups and okay, yeah, I see Victor. Victor joined the conversation. Victor's on here. So this is our chat group. So you log in there. There's 2 speakers. I'm gonna put hello here. So you guys can. Those of you who have back office access, you can communicate back and forth by logging into the chat on here, because there used to be a Facebook chat group for Dispatcher 101, but since August 22nd, it was taken down for whatever reason. I'm still trying to figure that out. So,
okay. All right. Yeah. I'll type some questions in there.
Yeah, see, sometimes I'm not in there, but other people are like Robert. Victor just put his information. Hello, this is Victor, the 346 number. So just put it in here, testing. So you either log in with a Facebook account or a guest account. You can log in that way, and then it's just one of the chat group features I'm trying to use to, and it's private. It's only for Dispatcher 101 enrolled members who have access to the back office with the login and password. So it's just only us.
Okay.
So yeah. All right. Just so you guys know that. And then of course, as always, let me always put my information into here on the training so people can, of course, know who I am and call me. And any questions? So, all right, guys. Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll talk to you then. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right.